You're going to hang around. We're going to do some testing. We're going to do some testing of oils. He's got a bit of machinery. And hang around down on the veranda, I think. So I'm sorry we've got to move on a bit. And I know Disco Sister, thank her so much for being here. She's a winner. She said we're having a break. I don't reckon we can have much of a break, but there's terrific hemp seed food out there and drinks. Everyone's welcome to get a bit. You can keep listening out there a bit. And the toilet is out there on the back of that veranda going down, where you run down a big long ramp. And what else did I want to tell you? I want everyone to take this newspaper home with them. It's out the front for free. You can make a donation, would be great. Gregory, come up here now, come on.
Just in between, before everyone leaves or something, there's something really informative out there on the internet now. It was the Four Corners program from 3.5 weeks ago on ABC TV1, and it's now on iView. You just put iView into Google, and it was called Dying to Dance. It's a Four Corners program. It's only there till the 16th of March, so next week it will be taken away. It shows the attitude of our police against the drug testing, the pill testing, where that killed already 6 people on festivals, and the attitude of our police is just mind-boggling. Please watch it, Dying to Dance, till the 16th of March on iView.
It's a really good show. Here's Gregory, Greg James from Murwillumbah.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about the voice. Michael invited me here this afternoon to speak on cancer because I was diagnosed back in September 2015 with prostate cancer that had metastasized to the pubic bone, to the bowel, run away into the lymphatic system, the bones, liver and left lung. So I was only given weeks to live. And chemotherapy, they said to me, with chemo, you may live till Christmas. You get to see this one out, and the doctor was quite adamant because I was 59 at the time, and this was about a month before my 60th birthday. So they were pretty hell-bent that they were going to get me in for chemo. But going back historically, we'll go back 40 years ago, I was shot. It was a fatal gunshot wound, it was an accident, and it actually took my life, and they reanimated my body. Now, in that blast, it came in through the lower right side and moved right through the body, through this way. And if you can see it from down there, it's not a pretty sight. Okay? They took half the stomach, 6 feet of intestines, half the stomach, the bottom of the left lung, part of the liver, left kidney, and a rib. So I lived pretty much a compromised life for about 40 years, you'd think. But I was only 19 at the time. And the human body is amazing. At that time, I came to the realisation after actually leaving the physical body about 4 times and having it reanimated, the last time I came back and said, well, what's the human body, you know? I'm the one inhabiting this body. It's a computer-controlled, hydraulically operated, biomechanical, solar electric ground transport unit for the soul. Okay? And you get to learn a lot about biology, and you get to learn a lot about the difference between the egoic mind and the soul. And the soul is the commander. This is where your courage comes from. Now, before I get into the story, I'd just like to teach you something here and now. Everybody in the room, breathe. Breathe down into your abdomen, down below your diaphragm. Fill the lungs. Feel your rib cage expand. Okay? Can you get the oxygen down there? You feel it? If you're feeling that, that's your soul's response is yes. Put your left hand atop your breast. Okay? Left hand only. Never do it with the right. If you cross the body, you short circuit. Now take that deep breath and ask for yes. Just yes in your mind, and take that deep breath right down here. Alright? That's what your soul feels like when it's agreeing with you. Okay? Ask yourself a question now that is a definite no. Would I go work for that arsehole again? Okay? Something like that. Ask it and breathe and feel the contraction of the diaphragm. The abdomen won't expand, the lungs won't fill. This is really simple testing. This one knows all the truth. Andrew was talking about dosage for cannabis. This is how I do it. I ask my body what it needs. It's quite intelligent, okay? Each one of us here, aside from aliens, are basically fractals of the universe, okay? So you're very, very powerful beings. And the whole journey starts where Andrew got his applause. When you have courage, you start at level 200, a vibration of 200, and you move up from there, okay? Love is 500, enlightenment 900. Anger is right down around 10. And fear is not far above it, and this is what doctors use. So when they came to me and said, you've only got maximum 6 weeks to live, first thing I did was stop and think about it. You know, hang on a second, 10 years ago, you gave me radiation therapy for the prostate. 5 years before that, you cut me open and took a section of my bowel out. And now you're telling me I've got 6 weeks to live? You know what? I don't think I want to be sick. I had 1 round of radiation therapy and thought I was going to die. That's how bad I felt. And I thought, no, not doing this. Walked away from it. First thing I tried was Cansema, or black salve. Everybody heard of black salve? Not heard of black salve? It's good topically, okay? If you've got skin cancers, it's great for that. I put it on where known tumours were, and tumours were being emitted out of the body. Very, very painful, very large amount of tumours in the body. Because as I said, they diagnosed me with prostate, bone had gone to the pelvis, lower 2 vertebrae, both female. Okay, so that was just, he said, you know, that far away from leukemia as well. So the lung, I lost the bottom of the lung in the shooting. Everything that was damaged, because it was a hollow point, a magnum bullet that went through, it exploded into 1,000 pieces and tore through the body. So the whole body was traumatised. And that's wherever those traumas were, is where the cancers popped out. It's just the body in stress. Now, moving on from the black salve, nothing was happening. I was still deteriorating very, very rapidly. And a friend came along and he said, there's this research on 2 things, on cannabinoids, and this is 18 months ago, so you think back 18 months ago, nobody really heard of cannabis oil, did they? It was very much underground, okay? The other one was salvestrol. So I was using cannabis basically in smoke form at that time to manage the pain, because it was quite painful just existing in this body. And then got onto the salvestrol. Now, is anybody familiar with salvestrols? Yep, okay, we've got one lady there. Now, salvestrols naturally occur in our food, okay? Have done throughout, from time immemorial. Salvestrols are the bitters in our food, okay? Now, these things stimulate different activities in the body, but one of the main things with salvestrols is that they look to kill a particular enzyme, and that enzyme, I don't know where Andrew is, he'd be familiar with it, is an enzyme, a marker called CYP1B1. Now, it's in the medical industry, or the research industry, they call it CYP1B1. Now, CYP1B1 is only present in cells that contain cancer, okay? Active cancer. And it's the body's method that when a salvestrol enters the body, it passes the liver's first run. The liver lets it go because it recognises it as the cleaner. So as the cleaners are in, away you go. So salvestrol is known to go through the blood-brain barrier. Okay, it's effective for brain tumours. Now, once I got onto that, about 3 days later, with a 72-hour cycle, when you get tuned into your body, you know it can become toxic in 72 hours. It can become detoxified in 72 hours. Within 72 hours, my spirits were just like that. They just jumped up. The colour changed. A whole lot of things started to change in me. I worked with Mullen Herbals. Here in Nimbin, you've got the Apothecary. You guys have an amazing place here. You use them. They put together anti-inflammatories for me that help with the inflammation that comes from cancer. And for the prostate, they did another special tincture, which was reishi mushroom, saw palmetto, and nettle root. So all these things contribute. The next thing for the bone cancer, I was on 10,000 and still am on 10,000 units of vitamin D a day. So 5,000 in the morning, 5,000 in the evening for bone cancer. It's so aggressive that I ran out one Wednesday and said, oh, well, I'm down there on Monday, I'll get some more vitamin D. By Monday, 4 fillings had fallen out, and C2, the on-off button in our spine, had popped out. And so that was pretty serious. Since then, a lot of chiropractic work, or crackless chiropractic work's been done to keep C2 in place. Keeping the immune system in check and keeping it healthy is the important thing in cancer, is what I've found. We contain 2 kilos of microbes between here and here, okay? And that's your immune system. So, you know, cleaning it regularly, when you can do a fast, it's really, really important. My doctor, who is a GP and also very, very alternate, is not the guy that diagnosed me. I ran away from those people. I swear if I'd have gone in for another visit, they'd probably strapped me down and whisked me off to hospital. But no, this chap is very, very open-minded and has really enjoyed the journey that he's been on with me. Things like astragalus and andrographis for drying the lung and getting the oxygen into the system. Cancer doesn't like oxygen, so you've got to breathe. Very, very important. Astragalus, building up the immune system, getting selenium into there as well. You know, my regime is quite long, but it's kept me alive until I get to the point where I'm strong enough and my body can tip that balance. Because in everything that you do, it's like trimming a dish. You attack it, you go down on one side. Then you've got to support it and bring it back up. You can't put more weight in this side. More of what you're doing over here can turn toxic, okay? You have to understand your body. You have to get in touch with it, stay in tune with it, and believe yourself. That's why I gave you that technique. You can now communicate with your body and you can ask it. And if it's got cancer in there, you can get into that dialogue with it. And you can ask it to focus your attention on where it is and also on the amount of CBD that you require. Now, I use cannabinoids as well. So I used to get it from the hemp embassy, and then we had the Rick Simpson oil stopped by customs. And other people in our community start to do the cold extract, so I use the cold alcohol tincture, which helps to release me from the pain that I experienced with the bone cancer. I understand I can't work hard with it because it's a cushion that's helping me to tolerate the pain of the cancer, not a cure for it. It may do eventually, but if I overwork, then I knock myself back a long way. And that's the one thing that I'd say with cancer patients is be careful how much you do. You know, I've always been a person who's challenged, and I'll get out there and I'll go my hardest. And when doctors say you've got 6 weeks to left, it's like, bullshit. I'm infinite. How dare you say that to an infinite being? You know, that's just corporate. That's all it is. Bring your money my way. You know, and science has been hijacked by the corporates. You know, I worked out of Houston, Texas for about 6 years in, well, my end of it was telecommunications and banking, but Houston is huge for medicine. Okay, medicine first, banking second, and the largest oil hub in the world ranks third. That gives you an idea. Medicine over there, and it's all allopathic medicine, all right? So everything Andrew spoke about, they know the secrets to just about everything. And then they synthesize it and wipe out the natural side of it. That's their way. You know, they're not interested in cures. And let me tell you folks, anybody that thinks that cancer is a disease in the 21st century, you're wrong. every one of you, you are dead wrong. Cancer is not a disease, it's a business model. And we are all participants in that business model. You think about all the cell towers that are around the place and the frequencies they're emitting upon us, and you don't think that you're being fried, you don't think that your cells are being adversely affected by microwaves, by all the rest of the EMFs. You know, you've got magnetic radiation, you've got magnetic frequencies, you're walking down the street and Bart Simpson is being beamed through you and you're hearing in your head, "Don't have a cow, man." And you're thinking, is that me? What did I have that thought over? Start to work out which thoughts are yours and which ones aren't, and also what is driving you into anxiety levels in life. Because all those things are driving you one step closer to cancer. When you come back from the anxiety, start breathing, find your peace in your life, and you're able to tackle these sort of things. And as I said, you know, like, I'm not out of the woods. I was definitely one of those terminal cases that not even the best cancer researcher would want to have on his books. You know, when you got it right through you, and my doctor even said, he said, "You've got it in your brain. You know, it's right through you." It was the radiation that exploded it. Why don't we think we can heal things? We can cure our bones with fluoride. Of course we can. Fluoride works if you use calcium fluoride, which naturally occurs in our streams. You can't cure bones using sodium fluoride that comes out of aluminium smelter chimneys. Okay? It's understanding the truth. Okay? They'll stand on it and say, "No, fluoride works." It's true. Yes, it does. Calcium fluoride, not sodium fluoride. But then, how can you take toxic waste out of nuclear power units, right, which is meant to be encased and put in the ground, and plug it into human bodies and say it's going to cure cancer? It won't. All it does is explodes the tumour. You have one tumour, now you have 1,000,000 tumours. And a 5-year life expectancy. Because within 5 years after chemo, you're back in there. And you are being diagnosed with different tumours. Because you took one tumour and turned it into multiple tumours in different sites in the body, and the body deposits different things in different parts of the body. So those tumours are going to react differently. Now, the things that I'm using these days, all that I told you plus the oil diet. I use the high-protein cottage cheese or quark. Have people heard of that one? Yeah? Okay. The high-protein cottage cheese for Amber Organics do it. It's 69.9% protein. You add 2 tablespoons of that in a bowl, then 2 tablespoons of flaxseed oil. I use the Melrose, it's the highest quality on the market. When I don't have the Melrose, I will use cannabis oil. Okay? 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed oil. Ground flaxseed, sorry. Now to this I add at least 1 teaspoon, depends on how I feel, sometimes 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, another anti-cancer agent. Usually at this time I'm ready to add some dried fruits and bits and pieces just to give it a bit more substance. So I'll add water to it, you know, about, I don't know, 20 mils of water, 50 mils of water, just depends on how sloppy you want it. Blend that in, add some dried fruit and maybe some muesli, okay? Some sort of grains that you're not allergic to, and preferably organic and GM-free. Or at least GM-free. You mix all this up, it's quite nourishing. The secret to using it though is stop all sugars, okay? Stop feeding the cancer, because you can't kill it if you're feeding it. I have 0 sugar. Not even this like, oh, I can't drink my tea without a whisk. No, 0 sugar, okay? Now, back when the Mayans, the shamans said to the tribes, give the Spaniards everything. Give them the potatoes, give them everything, because this will kill them. And guess what? Sugar's the biggest killer on the planet. It's everywhere and it's in everything, okay? So, soft drinks. gone. Mineral water, that's what you got on your table. You cannot be half-hearted in doing this. You can't say, you know, I've got cancer, I'm terminal, and I'm taking their drugs and I'm eating Maccas. That's a bullshit approach. You know, you're not going to kick it. You're not going to win. 0 sugar. Now I have apple cider vinegar and honey twice a day, morning and night, and that helps with the whole digestive system staying in check. The use of honey, jelly bush if you can get it, manuka if not, okay? And don't worry about the rest of them, don't bother buying the commercial ones, there's so much corn syrup out there now parading as honey, okay? So GM free is a big thing, go organic as you can, and probably the biggest thing is grow your own food. I'm not saying that because I'm a seedling provider, go and buy seed, plant your own food. If I can share one thing that I've learned in this lifetime from the soul, your soul has a yearning to complete a cycle, to till the soil that we come from. What are we? We're biology that came from the soil. Didn't each and every one of our mothers eat from the garden to knit the body inside of it? So we came from the garden. So we need to re-engage with the earth, till the soil, plant the seed, grow your crop, harvest it, feed yourself. That is your cycle. That's it. Pure and simple. Stay connected, not dependent. Okay? When you depend on another source for your food, you can't trust it. And I'll let you know, I have naturopaths on the Gold Coast who send people to me to have diets sorted out. Now, one of them was a lady who brought a 2.5-year-old daughter in, suffering from arsenic poisoning, that was tracked down to certified organic brown rice from China, sold through one of the duopoly supermarket chains. So even certified organic, you know, I have trouble with. I use all certified inputs in everything I do because I have to have that level of trust. But when I go out to eat, I really struggle because I don't know that I can trust what's being put on the plate before me. And I don't do it much now, very, very rarely, because I can go out to dinner and then end up with a trans fat because they've used canola. All canola is GM now. And then from there, the stomach's upset, then the liver pain comes on, then the prostate pain, then the bones. It's a sequence. The body just goes through. And it lets me know that I've just had some poison go into my body. And usually at that time, I'll use a bit of MMS to clear it. So does everybody know what MMS is? Miracle Mineral Supplement, look it up. The powers to be are doing a real good job of trying to crush it. But basically they use the same ingredients. The ingredients is like a sodium carbonate, which is used in water purification plants. All town water systems use this. When you mix that with the hydrochloric acid or citric acid, that's the activator. From there, mix it with a bit of water. It's got to be done dry. It's a special process. Very simple though. Piece of cake takes that long. You drink it down and basically it takes care of the pathogens in the system. So it brings your water back up in a homeopathic state back to where it's supposed to be in perfection. And that's what I use to clean out whatever's happened there. The other thing that I use is borax. Everybody heard of borax? Right. Now borax on the tin has poison listed on it. Now there was a doctor back in the 60s and 70s that got disbarred for curing cancer with borax. Fancy that, eh? Borax has between 9 and 11% boron, something we don't have in our soil, so we're all boron deficient. Now I mix 1 level teaspoon to 15 litres of water. This gives you a 3,000 to 1 mix. Now what happens when you do this, if you've got water that just came out of the tap and water that's been treated this way and you've got them both in bottles and you slop them around, one seems very, very light. The town water seems like there's nothing there. Very few bubbles in it. You mix the borax in the other one, do the same thing, and it moves slower. It has viscosity. First thing you'll notice when you take it in is it stays in the mouth longer. You feel hydrated, and that's exactly what it does. In farming, we use boron in this way to rehydrate the soil, because when minerals can't talk to each other in the soil, it's usually through dehydration. Okay? And the other thing you notice is more ant colonies popping up. You mix boron with water at the level of 2 teaspoons per 10 litre watering can. Put this on your garden. All of a sudden, the plants look so much better. The soil looks better. Everything's hydrated. Everything is communicating. And exactly the same thing happens in the human body. When you have it in your body and your fluids are viscous, you're able to conduct. I mean, the planet runs on 3 volts. You measure the static voltage of this planet in the soil, it's 3 volts. So us, we're no different. We're earth to it. We need that 3 volts conductivity running through us for everything to work, for everything to communicate. You know, how many people can say, you know, like, hey, if I get a bit dehydrated, I get brain fog. Everybody agree with that one? Not enough water in the system, it's like, oh man, my brain doesn't work. That's why you're not able to conduct that current. Okay? So hydration is important because it's the carrier of everything. If you want efficiency out of everything that you're doing with your body, make sure it's well hydrated. And the borax really does it, because you're seeking that 9 to 11% boron that's in it. That's what makes it work. Alrighty? So that's about it from me. I've probably confused you enough, and those who took notes can disseminate it at home. So this lady was first, and I'll get to you. Okay.
Regarding the eliminating all sugars, does that include fructose from fruit?
No, you've got to be careful with that. Treat yourself like a diabetic. Okay, so minimising what you take in and make sure it's good quality. That's all. Because if you're buying organic or growing it yourself, 1 piece of fruit is equivalent to maybe half a dozen pieces of fruit or more from conventional, okay? Because that 1 piece of fruit, if you get it and it is ripe, it's picked ripe, it has all the nutrient in it and it is able to release them and the body is able to absorb them. If you pick something that's not ripe, you know, imagine green plums. What's the body say? Bellyache. It can't deal with them, okay? And we eat food out of supermarkets all the time that's, you know, like tomatoes, for instance. Supermarket tomatoes are GM tomato. You know, most of Australia's tomatoes, aside from the stuff that's grown up in up around Gladstone, the majority of it's grown up in Kununurra, Ord River country. Okay, you can grow tomatoes year round up there, but they're GM tomatoes. They're plucked, packed into 1 tonne crates. Okay, you know what those big 1 tonne cubic metre crate looks like. So you imagine being a green tomato on the bottom of that 1 tonne crate. You'd think it'd crush, wouldn't you? And then you transport them from just about out of Darwin, basically, right across the country, and you take them down to Sydney and Melbourne and Brisbane, and you put them into cold stores. Now those tomatoes are held for anything up to 9 months. 9 months. Imagine cold stores, huge cold stores with 1 tonne bins of tomatoes in there. They go in, they come out through another process. Then any banana farmers here? Ethylene? You used to gas them? Gas your bananas? Didn't gas them? No. Normal ripening. Okay. Banana farmers that gas them with ethylene, right? It's a ripener. You gas them overnight, you go from green banana to yellow banana that people will buy. It's not ripe. Still not ripe, is it? No. It's just got colour. Because if you picked it and it wasn't ripe and you gas it, it just sets its trigger off to go into spoilage. And if you happen to pluck it at exactly the right time between being activated, because what have you done? When you gas it, it's apoptosis. You've triggered timed cell death in that piece of fruit, is what you've actually done. So when you gas a tomato, you've done exactly the same thing, timed cell death. Okay? So those things never ripen, so there is no salvestrol in them. You're just eating, it's not even pulp, seriously folks. Okay, so when you're talking about that food, there's no salvestrols in it, there's no real nutritional value in it. You may be getting fibre pushing through the bowel, that's about it. And you're trying to cure diseases that are impacting you, coming in through things like, you know, you look at something as simple as a cake. Okay, can somebody give me a real simple cake recipe? Do you bake cakes? What is it? What is a simple cake?
Butter, eggs, sugar, flour,
And water.
and liquid.
Okay. So, why then when you go to a supermarket and you buy a cake, they have a label about that size full of microscopic text that you can't read and a series of petrochemical pharmaceutical numbers, which is what they are. So these foods are full of drugs. Okay? When you create an E number, you're creating it out of petrochemicals and you're putting it through the pharmaceutical process. Okay? So if you're on other pharmaceuticals and you eat one of these cakes, you could be doing damage to yourself by turning off or over-enhancing a pharmaceutical. So what do? You go back to the doctor and tell him that this is happening. So he says, oh, well, we need something else to send that to sleep, because that's all allopathic medicine does, is sends a symptom to sleep. That's all it does. So they're going to give you another one, which is going to have a side effect. And then if you change diet and eat something else out of the supermarket that's got a different range of E numbers in it, that are in a different combination to give a different flavour, they have a different reaction with the pharmaceuticals that you're on. So you can see then you end up in this spiral of reducing your health. You're chemically toxic if you go that track. So diet is paramount. Make it clean, make it out of backyard, and make it that you can trust it. Okay? That's about it, folks.
Thanks heaps to Greg. He's right in the middle of murwillumbah, in the main street, isn't it? What's it called, that street? Nimbin Street. He's got his organic seedlings, wonderful nursery on this side right there. So many thanks, Greg. Thanks heaps, man. And I thought Steve waited patiently, Steve Bolt, but I thought maybe you want to have a 10-minute break. Anyone want to get a drink or something to eat, or the toilet's out there? And then Steve will be talking about saliva testing, new legislation, whatever legal questions you might have. So grab something to eat if you want, or a drink. Check out the Hemp Embassy down there if you're in town, and any hemp seed you want to buy or anything. And we'll be back here in 10 minutes, no more, because I've got lots happening. Thanks.